like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen, MikeColleen.com. Today we're going to talk about something I really don't want to even put the words because it's going to attract those kind of people. Maybe I'll just spell it. I'm just going to say it's called Hegelian dialectic, okay? So when you study actually, let's get started here. Get the candle going. It's our bougie candle. It's literally called bougie, by the way. Kind of an expensive candle. It's a gift from a friend of mine. He actually gave me a couple of them. I think this is the last one, though. That is our sage. Keep the energy clean. All right, so this video shouldn't be too long. It's very, very, very important to help you understand what's going on, okay? There's two things I'm going to throw in here, Hegelian dialectic and mismatching. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget it. Very, very important to understand if you want to understand what you're dealing with and how to get away from it. So once you see it, the whole idea is to start seeing the patterns going, oh, it's this bullshit again. You just walk. No reason to argue, because that's what this is designed for. Hegelian dialectic is designed to purposely suck you into an argument to make you go nuts. Because, okay, a narcissist, I don't know if it's one, I think it's the main goal, it's the goal of all goals, is they want to suck the life force energy out of you. That's why you feel so tired around these people, okay?
And how they do that is by getting you to get into an argument, to get mad, to get angry. Because when you express your emotions, you just open up and you're literally pushing your energy into them. And that's why all of a sudden they start getting a grin or a smile, because it's like they're on empty and now they're like, oh, it feels good. It's like, oh, I was so empty. It's like you know how you diet and you don't eat food for 2 or 3 days, it feels horrible. Well, if they can get you emotional and angry and into an argument, it's like you're filling them up and all of a sudden they feel good. So here's the thing. Their goal is not to win the argument. The goal is just to get you into an argument so you get emotional so they can suck the life force energy out of you so you can fill them up so they can feel good again. This is why you don't get into arguments with them. And one of the tricks I'm going to speak about later on is literally just do the agreement frame. Just agree with them and nod and say yes. And then they'll get this lost look on their face like, damn, this isn't working.
Another thing, the reason why you feel so tired around and drained around these people is because this technique that I'm about to explain to you, it's very simple, by the way, is it causes you to spin and spin and spin and spin, okay? It's a tactic to get your brain to think about all these different things at the same time. And then there's a hypnosis tactic, or not tactic, but technique to get you to do that so they can help you make shifts and changes. What they're doing, though, is they are doing the opposite. So in any kind of therapy, the idea is when you have two conflicting parts, the idea is to integrate them and to heal them to become one. This technique divides you and then divides you again and divides you again and then divides you again. It's horrible, all right? So let's just get started with it. Okay. So the Hegelian dialectic is this. Let's say you have a subject, okay? We'll put a little point here, all right? So let's say you're talking about this. You're not disagreeing with anyone. You're not trying to push an issue. You're just saying, hey, man, I saw this TV show or watched the news and such happened. Somebody who's doing this tactic, it's a really super, uber simple tactic. What they're going to do is they're just going to go, what's the opposite of that? Period. What is the opposite? Now, there's no thinking involved in that. They're just going, okay, you're there. What's over here? Right? That's all they're doing. And it's funny because we do something called parts integration in NLP, which is very similar to, it's energy healing, where we we heal the energy. I forget the word for it. It'll come, or you're basically bringing it back together as one. All right. So here's what they're going to do. They're going to look at the complete opposite, and they're going to go, oh, this thing over here is the opposite of this. All right. So this thought is, or value or belief. So let's say you share a belief with them. They're going to just ping pong to a complete opposite belief. Now you might think, oh, so that's what they believe. No. Or you might think, oh, well, that's what they think because it's not your thought. No, it's not what they think. It's not what they believe. It's not their value. In fact, here's the craziest part about this. They never even heard of this or thought of this or anything of this ever before they ever met you. Before, even if you've known the person for 10 years, before you brought up that subject and they went to the opposite, it wasn't like this is something they believed for 15 years of their life or even 5 days of their life or even 5 minutes before the subject came up. It's literally, it's like if you're going north, they're going to go, what's south? That's all they're doing. And then they're, oh, well, it's this thing over here. It wasn't their belief, and it's not their belief. It's not their thought. It's just the opposite of what you're doing. So here's how they justify it. So then, and this is a very rough explanation of Hegelian dialectic, but it's essentially what it is. A lot of people, here's what I know about a lot of people that watch the YouTube videos and try to learn about it. They're like, I don't understand. And I think the reason why they don't understand it because it literally is this simple. Here it is. Ready? You have a thought. They go, what's the complete opposite? And then they argue it to death. You're wrong, I'm right. You're wrong, I'm right. You're wrong, I'm right. And then what they do is they find something in the middle. There, you can see that. Yeah, cool. They find something in the middle. It's like they're saying, you've worked 10 years and you've earned $1 million. What's the opposite of that? You giving me $1 million. And then they come to the center and go, well, I tell you what, if you give me $500,000, then this will be good and honest and truthful and a good thing. And you're out $500,000 and you're thinking, how is that good? What are you talking about? You didn't work 10 years for this money. But in their mind, we just came to a solution. That in of itself is bad enough. Guess what they do next? So now that they came to this solution, they go, what's the furthest opposite of that this way? And they come up with another one, right? The opposite of this. And then they argue and argue to death.
And now, since you have $500,000, that's wrong. And it's wrong, and it's wrong, and it's wrong. And now they go to the middle solution and go, oh, well, the halfway mark is you give me another $250,000. So now they have $750,000 and you have $250,000. To them, that's fair and equal. And now you have $250,000, and that's not right. That is just unfair, and it's biased, and it's not right. So now they're going to argue that you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. But now they're going to meet in the middle. So now you got to give them another $125,000, and so on until they have all the money and you have none. And then they argue again and say, hey, it's wrong that you have zero. You owe me $125,000. And they argue again, and then you owe them $250,000. And then they argue again, and now you owe them $500,000. And they argue again, and now you owe them $1 million. This is their logic. And this is what we call crazy making. The smart move is just not to discuss anything with them at all. Something tells me a lot of you who are listening to this video have been through these crazy arguments, haven't you? And now you have a very visual understanding of why you feel so exhausted and drained after talking to a narcissist and getting into arguments. They take and they take and they take and they take. And it's not always about money. It's really about your life force energy. So you start out with conversation A and you end up all the way over a conversation Z that has nothing to do with the original conversation.
And then they come to a middle ground where they have a solution. And what's worse, they keep doing it. And then they'll do it again. And then they come to a solution. And then they'll do it again and on and on and on and on and on. It makes your brain go wacko. It makes you go fucking nuts. And in their mind, now here's the thing. They look very congruent because this is their way of thinking. One thing you have to remember about a narcissist is they can't think. They have no original thoughts of their own. Forget original thoughts. They don't have any of their own thoughts. So their way of processing is, you said A, what's the opposite of A? Oh, it's fucking Z. And then we're going to argue and we're going to come to the middle point, and therefore we came to an agreement when really it's not. It's still way the fuck over here. Right? And then they do the opposite of that and they go further over here, and then they come to the middle of that and it goes even further over there. They'll keep doing it until it's past Z. And it has nothing. And next thing you know, you could be on the first subject when you walked in the door. You're just trying to share an experience with them, right? Within 10 minutes or 12 minutes or maybe less, you will be so far from the original subject, you'll be like, what the hell are we talking about? What does this have to do with anything that I originally was talking about? Nothing. And that, my friends, is their goal. Just to mind fuck you. Excuse me for cussing, but there's no better way to say it. Just to screw with your mind. They don't care. Okay, I hate arguing. And I tell people, like, hey, I don't like to argue. If people argue, I don't talk to them anymore. I'm just like, I'm done. All right? So, in college, I did really well in speech class. So towards the end, you have to do an argument and debate for your final, at least in the class I took in college. And the guy that I got put up with against got a 5-year scholarship to go to University of Colorado on a speech scholarship. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I kicked his ass. I destroyed him. He even came up to me later. He goes, man, you really kicked my ass. He goes, holy shit. So I'm good at arguing, but I don't like to do it. I hate it. Okay? So the next semester, I was in the hallway. It was before the semester started. I bought my books for the next semester's class. It was literally like the Friday before or something like that. And our speech teacher was known to grab people like, hey, you're going to do argument debate next. I'm like, no. And guess who comes walking down the hall? I'm like, oh, no. And I'm thinking, like, where is he? No, Mike. Oh, fucking, I don't want to do it. You got to do it, Michael. You're really good at it. No, I don't want to do it. No. And I was like, no. She'd been trying to get me on the argument debate team, too, also, and I didn't want to do it. And she goes, well, why? I go, I don't like to argue. I hate arguing. I don't do it. I'm not going to do it. And she goes, oh, well, if you don't want to argue, you need to take the class. And this is what we call in NLP. It's classical reframe. But it got me. I went, what? What do you mean? She goes, well, Michael, in the class, you're going to learn a technique on how not to argue. And here's what it is. Forget the name of it. But here's basically what it is. Let's say you're with your kid and you're in your family, and your sister was supposed to do the dishes, but she didn't do it. Like, hey, you didn't do the dishes last night. And they'll go, yeah, but you didn't clean the bathroom last week. So this is Hegelian argument. So now they're getting you off the subject, the original subject, and they're shifting you over to something that you're not talking about. So here's what you do. You say, no, stop. We can talk about that next. But first, we're going to talk about this. Now, what they're going to try to do, they're going to try to go to a different subject, okay, which is a very narcissistic thing to do. They're saying, no. The first subject we're going to talk about this. We can talk about that next. These are two separate arguments or two separate topics or subjects, okay? So that's how you do it. Now here's another way that you do it. Walk out of the room. Refuse to talk to them. Don't have arguments with them, okay? Here's another way you do it. Agree with everything they say, excuse me. It's called the agreement frame. Just agree with them. Because have you ever heard the phrase, it takes the thunder out of their lightning? So the lightning cracks and then there's no boom. So it's like, and you're just like, there's no boom, right? Just agree with them. They're like, you're fat. Yep, I am fat. You're ugly. Yep, I am ugly. You're stupid. You know what? I am pretty dumb, aren't I? You agree with them. It is mind-blowing. Okay, there's a book called When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. I'm going to pull it up because it's over there somewhere. I'm not going to search for it. Let me search for it. By Dr. When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. By by Manuel J. Smith. It is a great book, and it teaches you. It's for people who have anxiety and have a hard time saying no to people, okay? I highly recommend reading that book. It talks about that artery in the lower reptilian brain. So when you learn how to just say no to people, when you learn how to not argue with people, that artery opens wide open and the blood flows into the larger human brain, and you can function better. You can see the bigger picture. You're functioning literally on a higher level, using a larger part of your brain, both left and right, okay? I'm going to leave it at now. I hope this video helped you guys. God bless you. See you in the next video. And remember, go to my website. Just take a look. It helps me with the Google, YouTube, and all that, or Google stats and all that stuff. Go to MikeCollin.com, MikeKollin.com. Bye.